Hey, what's up, Misfits? We got Maverick here with a video today to help you improve your Warzone game. So I've got two tips. They're going to make you better at Warzone. We'll get right into it after the intro. Don't have an intro? You have anything? And out there. So first tip we're going to be talking about today is going to be what I describe as dictating the battleground. What that really means is that in any given scenario, you want to be the one deciding how a battle is going to take place, how the fight is going to take place, whether that's the positioning of it, whether that's the distance of it, whether that if it's even going to happen at all. And so what I'm about to show you is a couple of different clips. We're going to walk you through one clip where I get 3 kills, and in each fight, I really focus on making sure that I'm the one that dictates the way in which the battle goes, that I'm the one who picks the battleground. So right now, 15 people left. I got 12 kills. I'm in a little house and buy station that's south of military base. It's really kind of south and west of military base, and it's a little bit north of the TV station. I'm going to pick up a UAV, and what you'll notice is up in the right-hand corner here, I don't see a person coming at me, and that's going to be where the first fight begins. So let's get into it. So he pops up, says hello. At this point, there is a resource disadvantage for me. He has full armor. I don't have full armor. So I'm pulling back from the engagement. Next piece is right now, you're about to see, there's an informational disadvantage. He knows where I'm at. I don't know where he's at. So at this point, I want to change the landscape of the battle. So what I do is I pull back, and I am now creating a scenario where I have the advantage. I call it a mobility advantage. He's got the storm to his back, and he has to come to me. So I know the path that he's going to take generally. I have different pieces of cover that I can cascade from and make sure that he doesn't see where I'm at, and I still get the first shot. And you'll see that's exactly what I do. He can't fall back into the storm. I'm able to get the first shot. Case of play goes my way. I change that around. Now, as I'm rotating in, I lose my mobility advantage, right? For whoever's already inside the zone, they don't have to move. I do. They know where I'm going. I pick up somebody on my heartbeat sensor. He's barricaded in a house that is going to be inside of the zone. Right now, the only advantage I have on this is I know where he's at. He doesn't know where I'm at. So rather than charge in, because I'm not ninja, and I can't just go bang-a-rang on anybody that I want, I decide I'm going to take this as a medium to long-range engagement, and I'm going to make sure I get first shot. A little bit of patience, one shot, there it is. Clean it up, and it's mine. Wish that he had a little bit more loot, but what can you do? So, back to level playing field with everybody, right? Except for, if you look at the mini-map, I'm going to be in another situation where I have a mobility disadvantage. I have to be moving. I have to move towards somebody, so that puts me at a disadvantage. I get a little ping on the heartbeat sensor here. I know that the person is either in the building and they can't see me, or is on top of the building and they won't be able to shoot me if I can get out of line of sight, and they're going to have to fly down towards me. So that's exactly what I do. Get over to the mountains area, check my flank, get down where there's no line of sight, and I just wait for the audio cue. Him flying through the air, can't shoot, that's an advantage for me. Mobility advantage, he has to come to me. So there you have it. There's 3 quick examples of how important it is for you to be the one that dictates the battleground, because you only want to fight in scenarios where you have an advantage. Alright guys, here's tip number 2 to help you improve in your Warzone game. Trigger discipline. Now, most of the time when people hear trigger discipline, their thought is don't shoot. Not really what we're talking about here. Trigger discipline is knowing when to shoot, when not to shoot. So here's a really good example of that. I'm in a trios match with a couple of buddies of mine. Both of them are down and out, and I've already let them know I don't think I'm going to be able to get them back in the game. I'm rotating in right now to military base, where the final circle is going to be. I have a huge open ground area for me to cover. I've got people off to my left. I have no idea what's going on off to my right. So let's see what happens. This is another situation where I'll talk a little bit about the imbalance or the advantage and disadvantage philosophy that I game with, and that I have a pretty significant disadvantage here. Not only do I not match anybody from a numbers perspective, because I have to assume that every team I encounter is a trio until proven otherwise. I am in the part of the map with essentially no cover. So I have a mobility disadvantage. I have to come to other people that have cover. They don't have to move. I do have to move. What I do have on my side, though, is that I am on the slow side of the slow-moving side of the circle, which means I have a little bit of I'll call it speed advantage. I get to choose how fast or how slow I move. You'll see right here, those guys had to move faster. Team of 2, I don't know that. And my first instinct would have been to go ahead and take the fight, right? Kill them and then think I can move on, because you're trying to whittle down total number of people. The reality of the fight, though, is that if I start that fight, those guys have cover they can dip into pretty quickly with the doors right there. I have no cover. If I give away my position and they're able to reset, re-armor up, and then come back towards me, I've blown any chance I have of getting anywhere in this game. So by having trigger discipline and not shooting at them, I'm able to maintain an advantage of being aware where they are and them not knowing where I am, and reposition myself to take the best fight that I possibly can. So I got lucky here that I got the circle. And the whole idea is, how do I put myself in a position where I can take the best possible fight? Here's an example of poor trigger discipline. Really shouldn't have gone for that type. Right here, perfect. I've got high ground. He can't get to cover. I could always pull back, take the fight, win it, done. Now, this, you might think, is relatively similar to the last situation that I was in when I didn't shoot. Go ahead and pause it. Here's why it's different, okay? It's still me versus 2 people. But in this situation, I've got high ground and cover. These 2 individuals, they find themselves in a scenario where they've got the storm to their back, and they're in an open space. So they're not going to be able to get away from cover or get to cover very quickly. And I can either do one of 2 things. One, I kill them, which is great, right? That's the whole purpose of the game. 2 is I start creating a resource imbalance. I give myself a resource advantage where I start getting rid of their shields and still maintaining my own. Because ultimately, I want to get to a point where if I can carve off all of their shields, I have a better chance of taking a 2v1 fight. And that's exactly what I do here. Take the near guy, because the other guy's going to be in the open more. Start creating the resource advantage. Little did they know, they had a buddy hanging out with them. Little did he know, I had a sniper rifle. So now I find myself where I still have a numbers disadvantage, right? It's still 2v1, but I have a pretty dominant position. I'm inside of the zone, and they have to come to me, right? So I have a positional advantage and a mobility advantage. And generally speaking, I find that my accuracy is good enough that I can overcome a 2v1 if I have those other factors in my favor. And I might have a resource advantage. I don't know that yet because I don't know if they were able to heal up. So they can only come through one of these two doors on each side of me. They're going to have to go through the storm to take a little bit of damage to do that. They pop up. I know I've got to get one knock, so I got to stay in the pocket until I drop one guy. At this point, I just got to reset the fight, right? He knows where I'm at. Don't want to take the damage to die. I want to dictate the battleground that we're going to fight on. Reposition, a little bit of high ground, he's in the open. That's how you clutch up a victory. Alright guys, so for all the solo cats out there, which is predominantly what I play, I'm going to leave you with an example where I both execute from a technical perspective, perfection on trigger discipline and dictating the battleground. If you can take every fight and be in the technically best position, then you're doing exactly what you want to do, especially in solos. Only take fights where you have an advantage. So what's going on here is I've pinged a UAV. I've got somebody in the train station. I, at this point, have an informational advantage. I know where they are. They don't know where I am. So what I really want to make sure that I can do is I can start this fight where I have the first shot and I have an advantageous position. In the sense that I can get to cover if he returns fire to me, or he can't get to cover if I start fire on him. And so here, I'm going to catch my first sight of him. I don't have enough space or time to be able to kill him without him ducking over to cover. So I don't want to put myself in an equal fight position. I don't want to give up my informational advantage where he could just turn around and we're on even playing ground. So I'm going to continue to stalk him here to try and get into that place where I can make sure that I execute on whatever advantages I have in the fight. Reality is the guy's he's a wily bastard and he's pretty quick. I see him heading towards the loadout area. Also, you'll notice the loadout is elevated. At this point, I assume he's going to the loadout and he's got to get on that roof. There's a stairwell that he just turned into. If I know where he's going and he's not aware that I'm chasing him, if I can get there first, it's a pretty easy kill for me. So I want to dictate the terms of the battle. I'm going to jump up here and you'll see a chest on my left-hand side. I go ahead and open the chest just so that there's no audio cue that he might hear that would bring his attention towards my line of sight. I don't want him looking over at me until he's essentially face on the ground. Get into position. I'm going to hide because I only want to pop up and start this fight when he can't get to cover, right? I'm dictating the battleground. So, holding off, see him move in. Easy kill. And it was, from beginning to finish, technically executed in the best possible way that I could have taken that fight. And it looks boring. Those are the best fights to take. The lowest risk fights that you can take. So, if you're out there grinding solos, which I know a lot of you guys are, make sure you're focused on putting yourself in the best possible position in each and every fight. Two biggest lessons for me to start that process that I had to make sure I got down as a core part of my play style. Trigger discipline, dictating the battleground.